Good morning, class. So we go ahead with the story, continue with the story in a tunnel. Up till now, we have seen that the author has given a detailed description of the tunnel and how the sound differs when echoes when you are inside a tunnel. And then now, beginning today, the main three characters of the story will be introduced in the chapter. Okay. So up till now we have seen that the author tells us that how the trickling water turns green, that surface area it turns it into green, and it is dull and sticky, sickly green where the water is continuously flowing over there. Now coming to page number 97, let us continue with the story. It was not yet quite dark in the tunnel when Phyllis caught Bobby's skirt, ripping out half a yard of gathers. Ripping out, tearing out. A yard is a measurement, children, and half a yard will be around half a meter. That is not the exact, but approximately. But no one noticed this at the time. Now these children, there are three children who are there in the tunnel. Phyllis and Bobby, and then later on we will introduce the third character as well, called Peter. Now maybe they were nervous, so this is why when Phyllis caught Bobby's skirt, it ripped out into half, but they did not notice this at all. I want to go back, she said. I don't like it. It will be pitch dark in a minute. So who's it? It is Phyllis, who is scared of being in the tunnel. I won't go on in the dark. I don't care what you say. I won't. So maybe the three of these children are up to something, but Phyllis is quite scared of being in the dark tunnel. Don't be a silly cuckoo. Don't be a silly person over here, said Peter. I've got a candle end and matches. And what's that? So what is a candle end, children? A small length of the candle. That was a low humming sound on the railway line. So in answer to Peter's what's that, what do we get to know? What is that? It was a low humming sound on the railway line. What can it be? It can only be a train. A trembling of the wires beside it, a buzzing, humming sound that grew louder and louder as they listened. It's a train, said Bobby. Which line? Let me go back, cried Phyllis, struggling to get away from the hand by which Bobby held her. So now when Phyllis gets to know that a train is entering the tunnel as well, so she is scarier than before. Don't be a coward. A coward? Who's a coward? A person who is not brave. It's quite safe. Stand back. So Bobby tells Phyllis that it is safe to be here. You don't have to stand on the tracks. You can step aside. Come on, shouted Peter, who was a few yards ahead. Quick, manhole. So they have looked for a safe space to stand while the train passes through the tunnel. The roar of the advancing train was now louder than the noise you hear when your head is underwater in the bath and both taps are running. So as children, as very young children, you all must have done this naughtiness. Mischief. When you were taking a bath, you must have put your head underwater for just a couple of seconds, and you must have that resounding sound that you hear in your head. It is all around you, it is inside you, it is over you, it is under you. So this is exactly how the children felt when the train entered the tunnel. And both taps are running and you are kicking with your heels against the bath's tin sides. But Peter had shouted for all he was worth. Why? What does that mean? He shouted very loudly, and Bobby had heard him. And Bobby heard what Peter was telling them to do, to take shelter in the manhole. And Bobby had heard him. She pulled Phyllis along to the manhole. Phyllis, of course, stumbled over the wires and grazed both her legs. She tripped. And what happened? She grazed both her legs. Grazing is, children, when you graze something, you touch or rub against some things, very lightly and for a little bit of time, and then you may not hurt yourself, you may not hurt yourself. So she, in this process of being dragged, when she tripped Phyllis tripped, she grazed her legs. But they dragged her in. Where did they? Who are they over here? Both Bobby and Peter. They dragged her in. In is which place? The manhole. And all three stood in the dark, damp, arched recess while the train roared louder and louder. You all know what a manhole is, children. You must have seen those rounded lids kept in between the roads or at the side of the roads, and often you must have seen people entering those manholes opened, and people enter it to repair the underground or maintain or lay the underground pipes, underground wires and cables. So because it is under the earth, there is no sunlight penetrating over there, so of course it has to be dark and damp. Now it seemed as if it would deafen them, meaning to say they will go deaf. The sound in the tunnel of that train, the whistling, the rumbling of the wheels, the grinding of metal against metal, it was too much for them, and now they were stuck up or they were holed up in the manhole. And in the distance they could see its eyes of fire. What is the eyes of fire over here? The engine, growing bigger and brighter every instant. It is a dragon, I always knew it was. It takes its own shape in here in the dark, shouted Phyllis. So Phyllis is over imaginative. She is, when she sees the approaching or advancing train over there, so she thinks that the engine is looking like a dragon, and she starts shouting. And she is particularly shouting at Bobby and Peter, who has called her a silly cuckoo and a coward too. But nobody heard her. Why did nobody hear her? Because of the loud noise of the train. You see, the train was shouting too, and its voice was bigger than hers. And now, with a rush and a roar and a rattle and a long dazzling flash of lighted carriage windows, a smell of smoke and a blast of hot air. See, this story was written when we had steam engines ferrying the carriages from one place to the another. Now these days we have electrical engines and we have diesel engines. So therefore the blast of hot air, that is the coal burning inside the engine, which gives its power to propel forward. The train hurtled by. Hurtled by means sped by very fast, clanging and jangling. So children, in this particular story you must have we have come across so many words which, not action words, but words which show lot of loud noise. We rush, the roar, the clanging, the jangling, all these words, they are not, depicting, they do not tell the reader that there was a soft sound, but the story is full of loud noises. And the author has captured these loud noises of the train or the engine very beautifully by using such words. And echoing in the vaulted roof of the tunnel. Vaulted is the arch. Phyllis and Bobby clung to each other. Even Peter caught hold of Bobby's arm. Now, because of this loud roaring noise, the children were eventually, even the older children were eventually afraid. And Phyllis and Bobby, they held each other tightly. Even Peter caught hold of Bobby's arm. They are trapped there in that dark and they are scared, in case she should be frightened. So Peter does not want to admit to either to Bobby or to Phyllis that he is the one who is frightened. He is telling Bobby that he is catching hold of her arm so that she should not feel scared. And now slowly and gradually the tail lights grew smaller and smaller, and so did the noise. So when the train had finally sped through the tunnel, its tail lights, the end lights. Tail lights, what are the tail lights? The end lights of the vehicle. Now children, if you have seen the last carriage of the train, you will, if you have not observed it till now, then do it from now onwards. That during the daytime, you will see that X will be marked at the last carriage. It shows that this is the last carriage of the train and there is no loose carriage running on the tracks. In the night, because as it will not be easier to see this X during the night, so you will see a red light at the end of the last carriage of the train. So this is to show all railway personnel that the train is all secured and all the carriages are properly attached to each other. And so did the noise. So finally, when the train had left the tunnel, the noise, the loud noise, roaring noise also subsided. Till one last whiz, what is to pass by quickly. The train got itself out of the tunnel and silence settled again on its damp walls and dripping roof. So when the train had finally passed the tunnel, everything became as usual as it was. Everything settled down to normal, or normal in the case of the tunnel being damp walls and dripping roof. So not much to a story except what happens when you are in a tunnel, when you are passing through a tunnel, sitting inside a train, or when you are standing outside trapped in a manhole in the tunnel and the train is passing through the tunnel. Now children, I want you to turn to page 99 and working with words. So here it says, suggest words from the story for the following meanings. A. Loud noise is scream, tearing is ripping, pulled is dragged, quietness is silence. A person who is not brave is a coward, tripped over is stumbled, slowly is gradually, humming like a bee is humming sound. Then held on tightly, clung, bright is dazzling, moving forward is advancing, moist and slippery is slimy. So note down all these words in your textbook itself. Now here exercise 2 says carefully read the last 2 paragraphs of the story and pick out all the words for sounds or noises. Can you fit 7 words into the grids below exactly as they appear in the passage? So you have to read the last 2 paragraphs of the story and pick up the sound words or words which show sound from there and fill them up in this particular grid. And then they are asking you, can you add any other word for sounds to those above? Now this exercise 4 we will not be doing. Then learning about language. This we will take up in the next class. Till that time, children, please make sure I'll be uploading the question answers as well. So those you have to do in your Fair English Literature notebooks. Along with the word meanings, please underline the difficult words and learn the spellings as well as the meanings of the difficult words. Thank you.